Hello friends, and welcome to part 2 of my Doom Eternal discussion. In this segment, I'm going to talk a little bit about something I didn't like too much, and that is the jump puzzles of the game. Now, as a caveat, am I saying that the jump puzzles are bad? Not necessarily. But are they frustrating? Sometimes yes, and sometimes no. I'll explain why. But personally, I'm not a big fan of jump puzzles in first-person shooters. But I cannot put my dislike of a system or a traversal method on not liking the game. It's in the game, and I don't like it, but I think the game does a good job of allowing me as a player to grow, to appreciate it, and get better at it. Kind of like, I hate to say it, but it's like a Dark Souls thing. Like, yes, you're going to get wrecked, but if you play the game, you get better at it. And in the case of Doom Eternal, you have to manage your dash, your jumping, and your, in a sense, distance gauging to master the jump puzzles. However, my inherent bias of not liking jump puzzles added to my frustration. Now, can I say the jump puzzles are bad and the game sucks? No, the jump puzzles were actually fine. It's just my own inherent frustrations in not playing it properly, which I will discuss here in a bit. So, why I don't like jump puzzles in first-person shooters, which I mentioned in my discussion of level design deep dive level hazards a little bit, but I'll continue here, is I think it has to do with distance judging. Now, for example, if you have a third-person game where you have a wider FOV, you see your character, and you have to do a jump puzzle like in a game like Batman, Uncharted, God of War, you kind of have a good sense of distance gauging of, this is my character, this is how big he is, or he or she is, and this I have to get from A to B to C to D. You kind of figure it out and get the pacing right. In first person, at least my thinking, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that you are already looking at the game from a first person perspective, your own eyes. Then you have the view of the character. And in the view of the character, it's not the same FOV or view distance we have as normal human beings. It could be scaled to 80, 90, or 120, depending on how you set your FOV and the game's viewport that they have defaulted or allows you to change. Along with the FOV, you also have the gun model. And some guns are smaller, some guns are larger. And having that in your view can kind of obstruct your guess of how far you actually have to jump, and you think you have the jump perfect, but you miss. A Doom Eternal does have quite a few jump sections. They become more nefarious over time, but with your unlocks, upgrades, and better understanding of using the dash mechanic properly, they become more manageable. I wouldn't say easy, but more manageable. However, early on in the game, there's a section with a lot of lava, falling platforms, and spinning flame bars that adds to a culmination of a very frustrating experience I think many people had when playing Doom Eternal. My friends and other players mentioned their frustration at this moment because you just learned how to do the dash and you might get trigger happy or spacebar happy to use it more than you need to, and you run out of dash mechanic to make the jump possible. Or you're not timing the jumps right and getting frustrated because the platforms are not at the right place where they need to be. So here's that section I was talking about. And the more you play it and get frustrated with it, you'll figure it out. But at first, after a few tries, you kind of think to yourself, I've seen this before. Where have I seen this before? The answer is Super Mario Brothers. This segment here from the Bowser Castles are pretty much the same thing, but it's in 2D. And being in 2D, I think it's easier to judge where the hazards are and where the jumps are compared to 3D. Now coming back to Doom Eternal, this sequence here is almost like an homage to Super Mario Brothers, but in a way it's like a metal cover of Super Mario Brothers. Like for example, you have a song, and you have an artist who makes a metal cover it. It's more extreme, it's more badass, it's more intense, that's what this is. Now, again, would I say this is a bad jump puzzle? Maybe for so early in the game, but is it a bit of the player's fault? I think a little bit, yes. Eventually, I got through this section, but I think, like I said earlier, I was kind of spacebar happy. Like I need to double jump and I need to hit shift to dash, but I was never looking at my UI in the left corner to see how much dash I actually had before attempting the jump. And I was also really anxious to get to the next part. So I think it's my own fault for not understanding the mechanics to make that section easier than it, or less harder than it had to be. Now, in the later section of the game, there are more jump puzzles with that are more nefarious, where you grab onto the item, and if you stay on it too long, it'll fall. But this section, though later in the game, felt easier than the first jump puzzle. One, because I think there's a lot more indication of where you have to go with the green lights that are the language of this is the way you have to go in Doom Eternal. And also, I think it is easier because there's a lot more to grab onto. In that first lava section, all you have are just the platforms. In this later section, you have the platforms and then more stable sections of the level. What do you want to say, like anchored platforms that you can jump to, take a break, and then jump to the next section. And the first lava puzzle didn't have much of that. I think there was a section where you can jump onto to take a break, but that's much further around that mountain. And in the later part of the game, there's actually more stable platforms you can jump onto to take a break and guess where you have to go next. So I think that's why that puzzle was harder than it needed to be, was just the presentation of it. But was it, bad enough to say that it sucks? No, it's not. So on the way to the first major boss fight, this is another example of a nefarious jump puzzle. There's these lasers, and I have to get to those same things that if I hold onto it, it'll fall down. I'm getting frustrated because I think I need to jump left and jump straight. And my frustration or trigger happiness to get to that combat section is my own fault, not the game. And the reason why is that if you look closely, there's actually a red light on the platform. But my stubborn ass is trying to get to the platform without thinking. And looking for the green light that says I should go to green light and go to the platform that has the two green light pillars. But clearly there's this giant red light there that says don't go this way. You have to go somewhere else to get where you need to go. Eventually, I let go of my stubbornness of trying to go where I thought I should go and pay attention to the design language of where the game wants me to go. Clearly, there's another jump section right to the right, so I have to go 1, 2, 3 to the platform. I was trying to go to 1, 2, 3, if that makes sense to you. So if you're playing Doom Eternal and you're in a jump section and you're frustrated, try to see where the game wants you to go rather than saying the section sucks. Yeah, I don't like jump puzzles as a gamer or a game designer because of what I said about the distance gauging, but blaming the game for your own faults is not acceptable, I think. Clearly, that jump puzzle looked intimidating, looked frustrating, but I was trying to go one step ahead of where I actually had to get to. Like I said, I was getting from the hanging platform to the upper platform, but there's clearly a red light that said, don't go here. Eventually I figured out I have to go from the left platform, right platform, and then finally to the stable platform where the AI were. So basically what I'm trying to say is my bias of something I don't like shouldn't, deter me from enjoying a great game. Doom Eternal as a full package is amazing. And for keeping up with me in my ramblings about jump puzzles, I also want to showcase a really cool combat section and not just ramble on the same thing over and over. This is basically a counterpoint to my own point of saying, is Doom Eternal a bad game because of jump puzzles? No, it's not. Yeah, you have to use the jump puzzles, kind of aka get good at them, and break your own biases of liking or not liking them. But when you get past the jump puzzles, the game rewards you with the combat you are craving. Now, this section here didn't really have a jump puzzle to get to it, but I really liked the my flow of combat. Like I really got, again, saying get good at Doom. I got good at Doom. Like this was all in one take. My flow of killing demons using glory kills, different guns was just totally on point. Yeah, this section here pretty much had almost every single enemy and the kitchen sink thrown at you from every possible direction. And I'm actually quite impressed with like how basically I learned the systems and combat flow of Doom Eternal to survive this in one sitting or one take, what do you want to call it. I didn't die. I had some close calls, but again, understanding how Doom Eternal works from a combat perspective and using my skills and ability to survive the encounter really helped. So this combat space is not that complicated, but its simplicity in design allows you to move quickly. It's just a simple square with like a recessed area on the bottom, but it throws everything at you. There's, the imps, there's Pinky, there's Arachnotron, there's Mancubus, there's the Cyber Mancubus, regular Doom Marines. It is pure chaos, and the simple shape of a square just lets you run around along the edges and kill everything in sight. I did get shafted on the audio when recording. I guess, I don't know, something with my settings between the game and OBS, all the audio was gone. That's why I just have some background music. Otherwise, the sound effects of the game are, again, top notch, and they're worth hearing during combat sections. So even though I was kicking ass, I finally realized that there's a power up on the bottom. I could have used earlier, called the Berserk, but it came in handy later, and I'm just tearing demons in half with my bare hands. Like that, 2 imps in a row. Honestly, the glory kills with the Berserk mode are just at a whole different level. Gotta give credit to the animators and the riggers on this game. That's some insane shit right there. In this section, I used the miniguns weapon mod to make it full auto a lot. That just helped me mow through enemies, and I didn't have the notion that I need ammo because the game allows me to get ammo very quickly with the chainsaw. And I just using that minigun mod a lot. And just a few frames back, you saw the Cyber Mancubus spawn in. This guy's a thick boy. Not like the regular Mancubus, he also shoots acidic uh, globs of something crap, and they do a lot more damage, I think, than the flamethrowers of the regular Mancubus. So near to the end of the space, just clearing out the low-level fodder of imps. Again, like I said, this was all in one shot, one take, what do you want to call it. Had a lot of fun, so I wanted to share it with you guys. But going back to the original discussion, that my hate for jump puzzles and the appearance of jump puzzles in Doom Eternal kind of conflict with each other, but again, like I said in my first part 1, you kind of have to let go of being an angry gamer, and I let go. I said, okay, I don't like jump puzzles. But let's see if the game can teach me how to do the jump puzzles it has correctly. And it does. So be patient, look at your surroundings, and you'll get through the jump puzzle. Relative ease, I wouldn't say perfection, but it'll take a few tries. So don't give up, keep playing the game. It's a 10 out of 10 game. Keep playing it, it's awesome. And on that note, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. And be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Cheers.